Science instruction is very important to me. We want all of the students in Birdville to have every opportunity to be successful not only at the campus but in life. Many of their future professions will involve being proficient in science, and they can only do that if they have the lab space and the equipment in order to get to do hands-on learning in science.
Over the last 6 years, our science lab has been in 3 different rooms. Not only 3 different rooms, but 3 different buildings. We started out on the 5th grade hall close to me, but there was no water in the room. And then as our school has grown, that room has not been available. We do have over 450 students now, and whenever we try to do string tables in here, it's very difficult. Generally, at least half of the experiments end up being compromised in one way or another. And I try to stress that you can only have one variable, but with not all of our equipment matching, a lot of the times I have to tell them, well, just pretend that there's only one variable.
I think that we should get a new science lab because every time our teacher comes in to write on the board to show us whenever we're learning about solid liquids and gases with the molecules, she always has to write it in a little corner because all of our GT stuff's always on the board, so we never have anywhere to do that. All we have is 3 tables, and there's 20 something kids in each class, so there would have to be a lot of kids at a table. Yes, we only have 3 hot plates and 3 triple B balances for all the school, and whenever the 3rd graders were coming down, the 3rd graders didn't even know where the science lab was, so it's kind of bad.
I've been with the Birdville School District for about 14 years. In my whole time with Birdville, I have seen a decline in what we have available to us and to our students, what we have available in the way of materials. Tools, especially for science labs, has become very, very inadequate for teaching. In our 6th grade science rooms, they don't even have sinks. So that limits their ability to do some of the labs that I need my students to do. And our mission statement basically is we engage and encourage students and staff every day in a meaningful, safe work environment. I don't feel that I even have adequate eye washes to help my students. And that, to me, lab safety is a very big, important part of being a science teacher. I want to return 100% of my students home each day, not 90%, not 80%. Another issue we have is our storage area where we keep a lot of our equipment. Most of it's sitting out on the counters because I don't have enough cabinet space. My chemicals are on a shelf, and it's a plastic shelf at that. I would really like to have a better storage area to put my chemicals where it would be safer. And when the electricity is cut off in the summer for maintenance reasons, it gets hot back there. A lot of those chemicals cannot be in those hot temperatures. The refrigerator's cut off. I have biological samples that are back in there that I have to repurchase again because they've gone bad when the electricity was cut off. And the smell is really bad, and the smell stays there for about a week or 2 weeks after school starts because as it was hot, those chemicals, the vapors were all in the air, And my students that have lung problems, they really have a problem when they come into my class. They say it smells sciencey and it stinks.
In science, all we watched a video and we took notes on the video, and we never did any labs.
As trained teachers, a lot of the time we all need to be creative. However, it comes to a point where the lack of materials that we need, the lack of safety equipment, rather than being creative, we're trying to reinvent the wheel. Therefore, it keeps our students less engaged, less able to be actively involved. Your equipment that you have around you is shoddy, or it's non-existent, or we're using very old equipment. The students, even though they may have never done anything as far as that in a lab setting, they can see that, they know that it's old, and to them it feels old. Thus, we're not able to connect with them as well as we should, and explain, as we move forward into 7th grade and 8th grade and beyond into high school. If they think that that's what it is like to have a beaker that you can barely see through because it's so old, then if our expectations are so low, what we're showing the students, then what should they expect to do moving forward?
The way I would change it is if we were to have more labs, I would be able to pay more attention, because of taking all the notes and having tests everywhere, it's getting confusing for me and some other people. And I would like science if we had more labs, and it'd be more fun, and everybody would be excited to be coming to science instead of it's really boring in science class and everything.
My biology classroom is exactly that. It's just a classroom. It's not a laboratory. I don't have any sinks. I don't have gas to my room. The electricity supply is limited. In my room, I have typically between 25 to 30 students in every class. Our students are crowded at their desks, and there's very limited space for them to move around, which makes doing labs very difficult. It's difficult to maintain the standard of 40% labs in our classroom due to the fact that we do not have the lab supplies that we need. In my classroom, I do not have any of the safety measures needed in a science laboratory. There's no drain or water supply in my room. There's no eye wash center, no emergency shower or fire extinguisher. So doing labs already is very limited, because if we were to do something that would require any sort of safety measure, we don't have that to protect our students.
They do not have room to maneuver. I've tried different layouts. I've tried kind of rotating the tables, seeing what I can do. It becomes really, really difficult. A lot of the science assignments and a lot of the work we do is really geared towards group and lab work, but you don't have the room to move and do different stations. You don't really have the room to put different setups around the room. Anything I need to use, I also have to bring in, so it really does add quite a bit to my load after school. Instead of staying here running tutorials, I'm hunting down things that I can bring in. Not that I couldn't bring them in before, but I don't have the room to stash. I can't keep, 7 triple beam balances in here. I can't keep the stuff, so I lug every single lab in and I lug it out.
If I want to do something involving hot plates or microscopes, because that is part of our TEKS, then I have to run extension cords and power strips just to get enough power and pray I don't overload the circuit breaker, just to introduce kids to that kind of technology. But it is difficult to seamlessly integrate technology into the classroom because of scheduling issues. I have kids who come to me from the middle school having never seen a microscope, and I would love to have them become familiar enough with that they can use it with confidence.
exit exams absolutely requires that our students are doing science, not just sitting and listening to a teacher talk about the theory or the theoretical nature of science, but they're actually having to construct meaning for themselves. I want to thank you for listening to this and giving attention to this and considering all the elements that are required in making that best decision. Thank you.